Crap. I never actually hit start streaming. All right, there we go. All right. Hello out there. Good evening and happy quarantine. I was just talking to nobody for about 2 minutes there. Okay, it's always important to hit start streaming before you stream, apparently. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying to nobody, I've had some requests to do another live stream edit, and here I am. I'm going to be doing some tests with the new Visual Flow Pastel pack. I've been using their Modern pack and Develops preset packs for quite some time now, and they have been my go-tos in all my work. And yeah, I'm ready to get started. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below. I did ask some people to send over some images, so I have some of your photos out there. Jared, thank you for sending some. Weshin, Kathy, Ray, all of you guys, thank you for sending over some photos for me. So you'll see those down here in the timeline here in just a second. Let's see. I'm gonna get you guys switched over to the Lightroom view. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so as I was saying, we've got the Modern pack over here, and we've got the new Pastel pack. So what I'm going to do is just walk through a couple of images that we did on one of our last weddings, and just showcasing the different lighting conditions and the different, or what sets Visual Flow presets apart from the rest. Is there a lighting-based preset? So I'm going to walk you through a few of those on some of our images, and then I'm going to bounce over and edit some of your images. All right. So for a shot like this, we're using window light. So my import preset actually is the Modern Soft Light preset. So that's what I applied to pretty much all my images upon import, just because it's the general best looking base preset that I've ever used. It gives it a nice little bump in the tones. Gets the colors, especially the skin tones, exactly how I want them. And yeah, let's see. So as you can see, just with the soft light preset applied, this image almost needs nothing. It looks really, really good right off the bat. So what I'm going to do is, I would come in here and tweak it just a little bit to my liking, but I'm just going to show you guys some comparisons between this soft light preset in the Modern pack versus the Pastel soft light. Just so you can see the differences in the color, the contrast, all of that. Okay, so this is the new soft light from Pastel. You can see it gives a nice little film look. It kind of mutes down the colors, mutes down the skin tones, all of that good stuff. Excuse me. So if I bounce back over here, you can see the differences in the color, especially in the skin, and over on the right hand side where this warmth is displaying in the Modern pack, which I personally love. This suits our style of photography, but I know there's a lot of people out there that love the film look and that kind of pastel look. This is based off of the Fuji 400H, I believe, film simulation. Well, the original film, comparable to kind of the other film presets and simulations out there that they have, but we now have it in this lighting based system. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna flip over to the next one. Now we have a hard light situation. We've got the sunlight hitting our bride here. So what I would typically do, like I said, I usually have the soft light applied as a base, and look how good that looks. But if you come over here to the hard sun, it will tweak those highlights and the shadows just a little bit to kind of give it that just a little bit more of an HDR, and bring down those harsh highlights and those harsh skin tones that you're getting. So once again, I barely even have to touch this image. The nice thing about the VFlow system is basically all you really need to tweak on the images is the temperature and the exposure, or the white balance and the exposure. So I could technically bring this up a little bit in the exposure to get it kind of how I want it, but for the most part, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, all that stuff is set right from the get-go. And it does a really, really nice job with the skin tones. That's the one thing that I've found in this preset system that works the best for me, is the skin always looks amazing. So once again, going to do a virtual copy here, and we'll do the hard light in the pastel pack. Oop, wrong one. There we go. All right, so you can see it adds actually a little bit of film grain as well, it looks like. I'm not 100% sure if that's what it does, because this is literally the first time I've used these. So we're just diving right into the fire here. So let's see if we go into details. I don't even know where film grain is. That's that's how much I use that. I honestly have no idea where it is. Just don't mind me. Oh, there it is in the effects. Okay, so it doesn't use any film grain. Let's see what the sharpening settings are. Okay. So compared to, looks like the sharpening and noise reduction is a little bit different in the pastel packs here. Okay. Cool deal. What's up, Ray? What's up, guys? Sorry, I wasn't seeing the comments there. Now I can see everything. Perfect. All right, so let me know which looks you like the most. Like I said, I personally love the modern look, just because of the color, the warmth, and the skin tones. Let's do this real quick. So we'll drop this in there for a little comparison view. That way you can see the differences side by side. All right, cool deal. All right, thank you, Tanya. Let's see. Is this better? Can you guys hear me a little bit better now? Sorry if I just blew everybody's eardrums off. All right, so the next one, this is one where we need a little bit more in the shadows. Okay, perfect. So this is one where I would go for the HDR for the modern preset. Look how much of a boost that gives us over the hard light and the soft light in those shadows. So raw image, flat, HDR, look how much of a punch that gives. All right. So Beth, did you take this one? It's crooked. She's going to come in here and beat me in a second. So we'll straighten this image up and center it up. Fine. That one's yours?
Is it crooked?
It's definitely crooked, so I'm just throwing it out there.
They're always crooked.
Good deal. So the HDR, I mean, once again, it's literally almost perfect. I might give it just a slight bump in the exposure, and then I would probably personally come in here with the preset with their I'm sorry. Let me come down here to the quick dodge and lift. This is another part of the retouching kit. And I probably would go over just a little bit right over the face there, just to give it a little extra punch. And that looks pretty good. Now I'll show you one thing that I haven't showed you yet are the other VFlow tools down here. We have profile corrections, all of this fun stuff here. For an image like this, I might even come in and do a little bit of a radial burn, just to give it a little bit of a natural looking vignette. And let's see, scroll down. So just so you can see all the different tools that they have. So in addition to all the tools, you come over here to the brushes. Look how many brushes we have. We have all kinds of skin brushes, dodging and burning, retouching for eyes, lips, teeth, enhancements. I personally love the sky and clouds enhancement, and also the nature and color pop enhancement. Those are probably my two most used brushes, in addition to this quick dodge and lift. I also come in here and use, I'll do like burn the highlights or just dodge the highlights, one or the other. Oh, you're still here? All right.
Seeing how bad you mess up my photo.
Oh yeah? You want to tell me how to do it? How would you do it?
Well, we get there later.
Oh, okay. All right.
I would take out the bottom thing. So
Yeah, we'll crop. I'm not as worried about that right now. I just want to show the difference.
Whoa. That was pretty crooked.
So yeah, here's Beth's crooked photo. We'll zoom in just a little bit, take out those distractions.
Yeah, Tanya, he's always calling me out.
Good deal. I also talk quiet, so I'm sorry if it's a little low on the volume. All right, so I'm gonna come back here real quick. I'm gonna make a virtual copy, and then we're just gonna bounce down here, and we're going to we're showing them the pastel pack.
Oh yeah.
The film film simulation pack. So here is that HDR in the pastel. So you can see what that kind of does to the color, gives that real film look. Once again, it kind of looks like it adds almost a little bit of a film grain over the overall image. So I'm not real sure where that's coming from. Pi, if you're watching, maybe you can chime in and tell us how you guys designed and built these packs. Okay. All right, any questions out there? Ray, what's up, man? How are you? All right, cool deal. So I'm going to move on to the next one real quick. So once again, this is more of a soft light look. Just with the soft light preset applied, look how good that looks for the skin tones overall. I'd actually probably come in here and add a little bit of contrast and color to this image even with this. It was very soft, very, very soft lighting on this one. Just kind of run down the list. You could do an HDR. That looks pretty good. It's not really a backlit image. We'll show you a backlit image here in just a second. We're not using flash on this one. We're obviously not indoors, so none of those will apply. But there is a nice black and white preset applied here as well. For our black and whites, we tend to go a little bit more of a contrast heavy. So I'm just going to show you what we do with our black and whites. Once we select that, if it shows me, there we go. We'll come in here and add, I'm sitting here using my loop, I have my loop deck pulled up. I'll come in here and give the contrast quite a big boost. And actually, a lot of times I'll actually come in and use the dehaze tool as well, just for a little extra punch. So that looks pretty good for black and white for me. I'll come in here with that quick dodge and lift one more time and just kind of go over the little areas that need to be pulled out just to make our couple stand out a little bit more. We want our couples to be the highlight in the photo. So we always are placing the couples over a contrast, a dark background, eliminating all the other highlights in the image as much as possible. So just to give you an example of what we can do with that burn highlights brush that I mentioned, I'll come over here, click burn highlights, and then I may even come over here on the windows and kind of burn them out, bring those down even a little bit more. The flowers in the background, sorry to the florist out there, bring the highlights down just a little bit. Anywhere we can pull those highlights down to where our couple are the highlights. I mentioned this in another video before. What we typically, or what I do a lot of times when I'm editing to make sure that I've eliminated all the highlights, if it'll let me here, I'll actually flip the image over upside down and kind of see where my eyes go. So we've got the leading lines here, so I kind of start here because obviously her veil is bright, it's a highlight, and it kind of leads to the couple. So I'd spend a little bit more time kind of cleaning this up and fine-tuning it, but overall that looks pretty good for right now. Alicia, how's it going? Alicia is in here in the comments. She was one of our past brides. Thank you, Tanya. Lift and separate. I like it, JD. Ken is one of the masterminds behind Develop and this whole engine that runs all of these. So good to see you in here, Ken. If y'all have any questions, you can bug him, not me. All right. I'm going to show you this one real quick one more time with the soft light pack here. So this is what the soft light looks like right off the bat. I would come in here and pick a good white balance spot and kind of warm that up a little bit. I haven't even been paying attention to white balance. You can say that the last ones were a little bit cool. So with the pastel pack, this actually looks a lot better than the last one. I wonder if I need to go back and tweak the white balance of this one a little bit. I'm not used to editing in this style, and that's probably what's throwing it off for me. So yeah, that looks a little bit better. I typically tend to edit a little bit more on the warmer side anyway. So let's make one more virtual copy and flip back over to the soft light on the modern pack. And do a white. Oh, I pulled from right here, not there. Let's see if that gives us a little bit better look. Okay. So that's a little bit too warm. Yeah. And we'll pull that back just a little bit. And that way we kind of match up. So pastel, like that looks really good skin tone wise. And then modern. So you can kind of see the differences here. Let's pop this over again one more time. And we'll do this as a reference. There you go. So that's the modern versus the pastel side by side. That actually looks really, really good on the right-hand side and the left-hand side as well. What you think?
I think editing is very stylistic. I think it's a
Yeah.
creative choice. So
Of course. course. Yeah, all my edits are going to be subjective, so, you know, you don't have to listen to me if I tell you how we do things. All right. So now we've got this wide scene. Yeah, to try to get the whole church and everything. I couldn't move the tree. I probably could have moved the chairs, but you know, time crunch. But I photoshopped these out in the final image that we delivered to the couple. But once again, this is kind of a more HDR look, where we're not using flash on this particular one just because of the time. So I would probably come over here and use the HDR and bring up the exposure. Now I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to do on these types of images. Let's get our white balance looking good. Bring it down just a little bit. For my editing style, I tend to go a little bit more contrast heavy, a little bit more punchy. So one thing I like to do is really bring down the detail in the sky. So I will actually use a radial filter, and I'll come down here. Remember I mentioned that that nature and color pop. I will select that, and I'll just simply go right over our couple here, and I've got to invert it. I had it switched the other way around. But I will use that nature and color pop. That brings down the highlights just a little bit, add some contrast, add some extra punch and color in there as well. And I might actually pull down the highlights a little bit more too, because once again, we want our couple to kind of be the center, the highlight. Might pull down the exposure just a little bit. That way it kind of forms a little bit of a vignette around them. And you can feather this brush out a little bit if you'd like. And then overall that looks pretty good. I will actually come in here with that quick dodge and kind of go over our couple just a little bit more. Make them stand out. And normally I'd kind of go in and fine tune all this area around them and bring all that down as well. But just for the time I want to get to your images so we can edit those and show some comparisons and whatnot. And then I have a sneak peek for you at the very, very end on a new pack that's being currently developed. You get it? Developed? All right. So once again, this is a good example of using that backlit preset. The original raw, if it'll pop back up here. Overall, the exposure and everything's pretty good, but a lot of times when you're shooting into the sun, you're doing that backlit photo, you get a little bit of a flare, and you lose a little bit of that contrast. So what the backlit preset does is it actually punches that photo down and introduces some more contrast. Now you see it kind of overexposed this one just a little bit, so I probably shot this just a little bit over anyway. So we'll just pull down the exposure. Once again, that's all I need to touch right here is just pulling down the exposure. And there we go. Like that looks pretty good right off the bat. Once again, I'm probably actually going to use this radial and come in here with the nature and color pop one more time. And oops, I forgot to invert it again. There we go. And that way it adds a little bit of contrast and pop around them and brings down the highlights even more. JD, JD at the end, I'll pull that one up, okay? And I'll throw it in there. Cool deal. So overall, like that looks pretty good to me. That's pretty much a deliverable image if it'll stop losing my edit. There we go. All right. So I'm going to reset this one real quick. I'm going to come down and use the backlit for the pastel. So once again, it's going to brighten it up just a little bit. Let's pull down the exposure a little bit more. And I'm not going to touch the white balance. I'm going to leave the white balance exactly how it was in the original. So there we go. So you got the modern versus the pastel. Almost a little bit more of a light and airy film look. A little bit more muted colors. Now let's see what the nature and color pop does to the pastel. I'm just curious. Let's turn that off. There we go. So if you pull that over and kind of do the same thing, that looks pretty good. Yeah, it's not too far off. The modern, the soft light, it's got a little bit more color and warmth still, but overall that looks pretty good. I'm really digging the muted skin tones in the pastel pack. They look really, really good.
Yeah, I like that you can still get that pop of color without causing the skin tones to be like. Sometimes they'll get like very orangey and yellowy, and
yeah,
I like how these keep it very, very natural.
Right. right. So here is another one I chose just for that. I feel like the pastel pack will do a really, really good job on this type of image out on the beach. So normally we'd come in here with the soft light once again. You could use the backlit, but it'll actually probably add too much contrast. So that's what the soft light. Did it actually apply? My Lightroom is,
so.
My computer's going crazy because I'm doing so many things at once. Okay, there we go. So the soft light looks really, really good. Highlights are getting a little bit clipped, so it might pull down the exposure, or you can pull down the highlights just a little bit more. Overall, that looks pretty good. Another brush in here that I really like is the Sunflare brush. So down here, you have a Sunflare brush that just adds a little bit of an extra warm glow in there. You can I use it to kind of make our sun flares look even better. That was a little bit too much. Now, actually, what I would do is probably clone the highlight out because it's blown right there, or either just rotate our crop a little bit. I don't want to start losing limbs here, but somewhere along in that range. That way we eliminate that blown highlight, but we still got a little bit of a sun flare there. Just a little trick for you if you want to introduce a little bit more of a glow when you're shooting into a backlit scenario or a sun scenario. I'll use my words here correctly in just a second. We actually include a little bit more of the sun or of the flash in the background. That way you get a little bit more flare coming through, and then we crop in just a little bit. If you're using like a gel to mimic the sun, like a half CTO or a full CTO gel, I always put the flash in the frame still. That way we can get that glow, and it kind of mimics that sun flare, if you will. So yeah, overall, once again, that looks pretty good. I will come in and add probably some more contrast. I can always pull down right here. We'll use a linear brush this time and do just a little bit of a burn highlights and see what that does.
For those of you that are liking the radial effect,
there we go.
The linear one, I think I've seen you use I see you use both of them interchangeably, but I think the linear one.
I use the radial a lot more. It just depends on the scenario. If I'm trying to pull down sky, then I'm going to go to the linear. If I'm trying to go around a couple or create a natural vignette, that's when I'm going for the radial. And then I still use the brushes to fine tune. And come in here with the quick dodge once again and just kind of brush over skin just a little bit, give it just a little bit of a pop, and we're pretty good. I'm gonna show you a retouch brush real quick just because I haven't showed you any of those. So we have let's see what the red lipstick does. Just adds a little bit of pop of color right over the lips there. Oh yeah. So we can really give her some lip gloss if we want. That lip gloss is popping. So I'd actually probably hold the option key and kind of pull that back down just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, I'm getting ready to edit yours. Here, since you're getting ready to run, I'll flip over. Here you go.
Oh, I love
this
that.
This is Jared's daughter here. Jared was nice to send me this one over. Let me. Oh, Marty's watching. That was Marty in this photo right here. So I'm popping her lip gloss. All right. So soft light, hard light, either one of these would work for this photo. You can see there's not a huge difference. I would probably go hard light right here just because it brings down the skin tones just a hair. Let's make a virtual copy real quick. Like that looks really good right off the bat. Like I hardly have to do anything to this photo. I'm gonna come down here to the pastel, and you can see what it does to the colors and the skin tone and everything there. So I would actually probably warm this up just a little bit and see what it does, because once again, I like that look just a little bit more. So that looks pretty good. I might pull up the tint just a little bit. Oh, wrong way. Pull up the tint just a little bit. So there's the comparisons there. Once again, I'm going to use that radial and kind of do a little bit of a, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a burn here. Let's go with the burn highlights and just see what this gets us. Yeah, that looks cool. Kind of back off this feather here. That way it draws even more attention. Perfect.
Yeah, I like that. Sweet.
Boom. Cool. So modern, the little twist versus that pastel pack. What you think? Which one's your favorite? Hopefully you're still watching, Jared. Jared also sent over a landscape photo just because I didn't have any to kind of demonstrate. I wanted to do the HDR shot right here and watch what that does to this landscape.
Boom.
Like one click and we're pretty much
That's insane.
done. Up here in the toolkit, I moved mine because I actually really like to use this, but they have this detail pop and it's really, really awesome for landscape photos. So look at this, a little before and after. Look what that does to the sky there. Jared, clean your sensor. Holy cow. Look at all these sensor spots up here.
Oh, do the black and white thing.
Here, I'm going to show you guys. If you don't know, down here, if you
Yes.
click visualize spots,
This is a great tip.
you can actually see where all of your sensor spots are. So I'm going to pick on you for a second. Jared, look at how many sensor spots we have to clean up there. I'm not going to do
That's
them
how
all.
ours looks.
But just a quick cleanup, I use the Hill brush, and this is kind of where I fall. I'm somewhere in this range, opacity 100, feather around 65. And I'll just start coming over here and cleaning up all of these sensor spots there. I'm not going to do them all because that'll take too much time, but just so you can see an example there. Crop tool, I would use this horizon, although we don't really have a horizon here in the mountains, but you can kind of get a general idea right there where the horizon is. Simply click, drag, and drop, and look how awesome that is. One click and we're pretty much, or a couple of clicks and we're pretty much done with that photo. So thanks for sending those over, Jared. All right, Ray, are you in here? Ray did a how I shot it with Magmod today. It went live in the Magmod community. I think it's going to be on YouTube. So go check it out. Ray's an awesome photographer from our area. He's assisted us at some weddings before. He's been a huge help. We love working with Ray. So thanks for sending these over, my man. So yeah, I'll start off with a little bit of a straighten crop there. I'd actually probably pull that guy out
Yeah.
because that's a little distracting. There we go. Boom.
And there's your story right there. There's your
There we
leading
go.
line from the
Yep.
house to them.
We've got everything we need for this story right here. Let's close this down. Once again, this is another soft light scenario, but just look what that does. One click. It's crazy. So once again, we kind of got some highlights going everywhere. We want that attention to go on our couple. So I'm going to use that burn highlights one more time. And that really cleaned up a lot of this area. I'm actually going to come over here on the brush because you'll see this down here on the bottom. We have a little bit of
Just sunlight.
some highlight
through the
clippings
trees.
there from from some splotchy sunlight coming through that we can't avoid. But there we go. We pretty much fixed it. Okay. I'm going to double check this. Ray is here. What's up, man? Fix this white balance just a little bit. Once again, I'll probably come in here and add a little bit of contrast just to give it a little boost. And overall, that looks pretty daggone good. We could come up here and add even more of a burn. So I'm going to come over here and click Radial Burn Narrow. And then once we come down to our radial burns here, I'm going to click, drag, and adjust.
Click, drag, and drop it.
So boom, there we go. We brought the highlights and everything even farther down. JD, they do work on the DJI RAWs as far as I know. I've used them on our original Mavic, and they work great. The engine that runs this is made by Develop, so Develop is constantly updating their camera profiles every time the new cameras roll out. So as long as Develop supports it, then Visual Flows supports it as well.
I would dodge him a little bit.
All right. Yeah, we can really go in and fine tune all these photos, but just for the sake of time, I want to keep everybody's interest here. I'm gonna come down and do a soft light with the pastel, and that gives it a really, really cool look for the film lovers out there. So I'm gonna flip back over here. So this is my modern edit where it's a little more saturated versus the film look here where everything's a little bit more muted. But that looks really awesome. I dig it. Cool. All right, I'm going to move to the next photo. This one's also by Ray. So it's a really cool scene right here. So once again, I'm just going to crop. I'm going to look for the vertical lines. I'm going to show you guys another trick. So we've got vertical lines over here that are going a little bit different here, whether that be from the lens or whatever. Our profile corrections are already made. I'm going to come down here to the transform. I'm going to click this grid line right here. And I'm going to manually do this just to show you guys. So over on the right hand side, I'm going to draw a line there, and then I'm going to find a hard line over here, and I'm going to draw a hard line there, and that just straightens it and fixes all of my did I just say horizontal? I think I just said horizontal. It fixes our vertical lines here. So boom, there we go. And what I'll actually do probably is come in here and crop this even more so our sides match. I hate to lose that cool chandelier, but it's a little bit distracting as well. But just to match up the sides here and kind of show you that it was still shot through a door, I'll come in here and fine tune this just a little bit. We'll pull that right at the ankle there with this guy. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now this is a great shot to show off the indoor preset, I think. All right, so you see this little bit of daylight coming through? They have two different ones. They have a tungsten mix and a regular tungsten. So the tungsten mix with the blue daylight, it will eliminate that haze coming through a window or coming through, well, a window. So I'm going to choose that one. You can see it's a little bit bright, so we're going to pull down the exposure, and I'm going to adjust my white balance real quick. So that's probably way off.
Oh, that's...
let's try it over here.
That's pretty close.
Yep, that's pretty close. So I'm going to warm it up just a hair.
I liked the other one.
Well, I like this one.
Wow. It's not always
And
about
I'm the
you.
one editing. So,
Yeah.
ha.
Ooh.
Ha. All right. So that looks pretty good. Now, over here, this guy is closer to a window than they are. So, once again, I'm going to use this linear. I'm going to come down here to the burn highlights, and I'm just going to drag that over just a little bit. And I don't want to burn the whole thing. I just want to burn those highlights where they're clipping. See how much closer that matches than just coming over here and doing just a regular old burn. Although that still looks pretty good.
I was gonna say. Sometimes editing's all about playing around.
Yeah. There we go. We'll just bring down the
like
exposure
that.
of the burn highlights a little bit. So
Yeah.
there we go. That looks pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing over here just a little bit on this door frame to see if I can save that just a little bit.
Match it.
Ray has never used the guided transform. Cool. I'm glad you learned something new. PJ says, hey, Beth, and not hey to me. So, you
Hi,
know.
PJ.
Okay. Hi, PJ.
Haha. How
Good to see you, too.
doing? How you doing?
Good to see you too. I'm going to come over here and do just a little bit of a quick dodge and lift right on our couple.
Yeah.
Or not. I can't tell if they're a couple or if that's like, well, I'm just shut up. Pull that over there and bring that down just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. And I'm going to increase the contrast just a little bit. And overall, that looks pretty good. This would also probably look good in black and white.
Yes.
Not too shabby, eh?
I'm a sucker for a black and white.
All right. Let's try the pastel. So I'm going to leave all my little micro adjustments, and I'm just going to come over here. What did I click? Tungsten mix with blue daylight?
Yeah.
And boom, there we go. Look how it it keeps the color in the background and gives it a kind of a film pop. And check out the skin tones, and the one thing I really like about these Fuji packs is the reds kind of look really unique. They've got, I don't know, they always seem to pop on these film presets. So let me move that. You've got your modern tungsten mix with blue daylight versus the pastel tungsten mix with blue daylight. Okay, playing around with some of the other ones. So the flash looks cool. The backlight adds some punch. So soft light, hard light, boom. Cool. Thank you, Ray, for sending those in. Appreciate it. All right, this next photo is by Kathy Francis. She is out of Edenton, North Carolina. So Kathy, if you're watching, hello. Hope you're doing well. So we're going to bring in the crop just a little bit here. Straighten it up just a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. Now, is this a JPEG? Oh, yeah, this is a JPEG. You can still apply the presets over a JPEG. Like, it actually does a pretty daggone good job just over a simple JPEG. So you'll see it still makes tweaks over here and whatnot, but it doesn't seem to kind of crush or kill the kill the JPEG as far as the quality, the sharpness, all that. I wonder if it actually adds a sharpness. So it does add some sharpening. You can come in here and eliminate that to kind of match the, or keep the JPEGs in camera sharpening. But overall, that looks pretty good. Let's do white balance. Warm it up just a little bit. And for this one, once again, I'll probably come in here and do like a radial burn, just to add a little bit of vignette. You can see the difference between the narrow and the full. We're going to go with full to give a little bit more of an area around here. And overall, that looks pretty good. Bring this down just a little bit.
I like the tones.
Yeah,
this one.
Tones look great. We can come in here and do a little bit of a dodge right over her face, just a little bit on this side. And overall, that looks pretty good. Might add just a little bit of contrast. And there we go. So virtual copy of this one real quick. And there's the pastel look. So we've got pastel and soft light. Soft light and pastel. Do a reference real quick. Come on. Move. There we go. All right. So pastel versus the modern. So it's really all about your style with these two. They both do the exact same thing as far as being the lighting based presets, where it works in pretty much every condition. It just depends on what you want your colors to look like, basically. All right. Get a little sip of water here. All right. The next 3 images we're going to finish up are by Wes Shin. He is out of Virginia, an awesome wedding and portrait photographer. Let's see, Wes and Kathy both took our workshop at different times last year and had a great time hanging out with them and shooting with them. And yeah, all right, let's just edit. Come over here and try out the soft light. What you think? Soft light, yeah. HDR.
Well,
HDR looks pretty good.
Yeah.
That brings out the skin just a little bit more. I'm gonna actually go with HDR. We've done a lot of soft lights here. Yeah. Another one, actually, this would be great for this. There's a lot of green around. I found that this typically works the best with the when you're out in a forest scene where you got green grass, green trees everywhere. You're getting that hue coming off of the green.
It's going to cast a green.
Now we're getting just a little bit, it looks like, possibly on their skin from this scene as well because of the wood. So let's see what the green tint preset does, because this might actually be my favorite. So that looks pretty good. So green tint versus HDR. Now you'll see it does mute the greens overall.
I like the skin tones.
So one trick, I like the skin tones of this one. So one trick I do is, once again, I'll come back in with that nature and color pop, and I'm just gonna radial it over them, and see that adds the saturation and that punch back in the greens that we had with that HDR look. Okay, so I'm gonna come over, increase the exposure just a little bit. Careful of the highlights there. Boom. So now I'm going to use the brush. I'm going to come back in one more time, do burn highlights. I'm going to bring that down up here in the ceiling some. So you'll notice it's not really bringing down the greens, which is exactly what I'm looking for. That's why I'm doing just a burn of the highlights and not of everything, of the shadows or anything like that. Okay. So one thing I would try to do is the composition. We don't need the floor down here. We don't need, looks like there's like a spill or something wet down there. So what I'll do is kind of crop that out and go for a more rule of thirds, rule of halves kind of type deal. So I'll usually split the couple in half with the line. Now I would love to get this chair out of here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here and use this spot removal, and I'm going to see if I can just get it out in Lightroom, because the less Photoshop, the better for me. If you followed me at all at any point, especially with the whole mag beam thing, you will know that I hate pulling photos into Photoshop. It's just a time sucker.
And luckily
Wes,
with like
Wes said he cut his hand on a cactus as he took this. Well, I would say that it was worth the blood, my friend. This is a really cool scene. Where is this, by the way? Drop it in the comments what this venue is or where this photo is, because this is pretty cool. I'll make sure my lines are straight. I think they're a little off looking down here at the floor. There we go. All right.
luckily with like greenery
So there we
and
go.
stuff, you don't have to be so
Yeah.
fickle about the patterns and things.
Check it out. Spot removal was able to eliminate that chair, and we're good. I'm going to come in here with the quick dodge and just kind of do a little bit of a dodge over our faces of our couple here. Another little trick that you can do is you can come down to the luminance for the oranges, and you can actually boost the luminance of just the oranges. This was taken in Norfolk Botanical Gardens. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. So I did the nature and color pop. Overall, that looks pretty good. I might even come in and add just a little bit of a vibrance over the entire photo here, just to give it a little bit more boost. And I'm actually going to increase the tint just a hair. It's still a little bit green. There we go. Overall, that looks pretty good. I think I'm happy with that for now. Like I said, once again, I'd probably come in and fine tune and tweak a little bit more here and there. But come over here to soft light for the pastel. That looks pretty cool. This isn't really hard light. The HDR looks awesome. It's a little bit too green once again, so I'm going to come down here and select the green tint like we did earlier. So green tint, boom. It's looking a little magenta, so we'll pull that back down a little bit. The green tint may not work as well on this one as it did the last one. May have to go back up to, I kind of liked the soft light actually out of all these, just with a little bit of a tweak in the white balance. I don't even know how to edit in this style. Like, I'm so used to my style, it's like, it's hard for me to tell what looks right as far as white balance goes. So yeah, maybe somewhere along in there, a little bit warmer. I don't know, what you think? Go back to green tint? I can't tell.
What are you asking my opinion about the color?
Yeah, I think I like that the best.
Yeah.
Cool. So we used green tint here versus the pastel look here. Wes, what do you think? Which is your favorite? Hey Nell, how's it going? I hope you're faring okay through all this. Hopefully we'll see you again soon, okay? Good to see you in here. She says I don't even know what you're doing, but it's fantastic and you are magic. Thank you. Magic. All right.
This will be fun.
This will be fun. This screams HDR to me. We've got highlights, we've got shadows. We need to pull up from the shadows a little bit. So just right off the bat, that's the pastel HDR. Let's go. Ooh, yes. Yes. So soft light looks pretty good, but the HDR gives it that bump that it needs. And honestly, all we need to do is just up the exposure a little bit. And we're pretty much golden, pony boy. We're actually really golden, so I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. Overall, that looks pretty good. Let's make sure we're a little straight here. I'm guessing this is the same botanical gardens. This looks like the same couple, same kind of scenery. I love it. That's awesome. I'm going to come over here and just do a quick little, maybe quick dodge right over our couple one more time and kind of bring them out. I'm not really going to go in and fine tune it like I normally do. I'm going to go Radial Brush. I'm going to do my nature and color pop that I love so much. And that just gives it a little bit more of a punch. And I'm really kind of digging this. It's very warm. It's very, I don't know, almost ethereal looking. It's kind of cool. I like it. Fairy tale-ish, yeah. So let's do this. I'm going to make a virtual copy of that, keeping my same stuff. I'm going to come down here to pastel. And we've got soft light. We did HDR, right? So boom, there we go. HDR there. Let's see what our white balance does with this. So it almost cools the photo down just a little bit with the pastel look. So I'm going to warm it back up just a little bit for my personal tastes and see what that does. Maybe I'll warm it up quite a bit. Maybe I'll really warm it up a lot.
You're going to make it look like your other one.
I'm going to make it...
So it defeats the purpose of it being pastel.
You just leave me alone. You go somewhere. Look at how bokeh-licious you are in the background. I've got this camera at a 1.4, and you're behind me,
creepy?
so you're like bokeh-ish. Yeah, you kind of do look creepy.
A little creepy. That pretty much sums up most of our relationship and wedding days.
So once again,
in the background,
I love the modern just because that's our look, but I can really see the appeal of the pastel look. These photos are looking pretty cool. But once again, just to reiterate, I mean, I'm literally just touching white balance and exposure, and we're getting pretty much a deliverable image. Now, you can always take it farther, which I typically do, but I'm really loving what we're getting out of here. All right, so we have a flash photo. I've got one of Wes's. I'm going to come back and do one of mine. I skipped over this photo earlier to edit Jared's. So Marty, if you're still watching, you get to watch me edit one of your photos again. So we've got flash here. It's a little bit underexposed, which is not a bad thing with these presets. They tend to bring out the exposure just a little bit more. As you can see, that's the raw, just with the flash preset right there. It gives it just a little bit of a boost to the highlights. I'll probably pull it up just a little bit more here. Maybe go up to half a stop, somewhere along in there. And perfect. All right, I'm gonna show you guys that straighten tool. So using this straighten tool here, we're gonna go a little bit above the horizon so I can see it, and just kind of draw right over the horizon and straighten this photo up. And then boom. Wes, I think you said earlier you always shoot crooked too, so you and Beth would get along very well.
We can make a club. Let's start a club.
All right, I'm going to come up here and show you guys the profile corrections, because you can see this has a little bit of a wide angle. It looks like it was shot with a 16 millimeter. So we're going to come up here and click Add Profile Corrections and watch that horizon.
Ooh.
Boom. Fixed. Perfectly straight now. Now you can do it with vignette. You can do it without vignette. So whichever look you want. He keeps the vignette in there with one, no vignette on the other. I'm going to go without vignette because I want to come in and do a little bit of a radial burn. I'm going to go with a narrow radial burn. I'm going to click on the radial here and just kind of adjust. Okay. You can spin it all around, do whatever you really want. I'm just going to leave it as is because that actually looks pretty good. 16 to 35 G Master, one of my favorite lenses ever. Love that thing. All right, so once again, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to click Auto White Balance just to see what it does. Typically for flash images like this, it always messes them up, but I'm going to increase that tint a little bit more again. Wes, let me ask you this. Were you using a gel on this photo? I noticed their skin looks a little bit yellowy. I didn't know if you used a half CTO, which is not yellow, that's orange. But sometimes it looks a little, sometimes the skins get a little off. And maybe you shot this to pull the white balance down like this.
Yes!
So boom. I'm sure
I love that.
This was probably your intention. Let me know. But yeah, this is awesome.
Ha! I called it.
Yeah, I'm going to guess you shot this with a half CTO. Am I right? Boom. I just clapped, and that was probably really loud in the mic. All right. So, that looks great. I love it.
I love that one.
I love it.
Good job, Wes.
I'm going to show you one thing. I'm going to come in here and click the detail pop.
Ooh.
Because look at what this does. This gives it like a really big punch.
Oh, I love that. I love what it did to the
Now,
clouds.
what I can do, because you notice their skin got pretty punchy too. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and we actually have a reduce contrast brush in this pack. And I come over here and just brush it back off the skin and back off the people. That way it kind of fixes the skin tones back to what they were, but it gives you that punch over the whole image. And boom, I'm done.
Where did it go?
I don't know. My Lightroom is acting up. It's being dumb.
You clicked something.
I did not click anything. Working with your wife is just, my God. I'm going to come over here to the pastel look, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click flash. Actually, I'm going to reset this photo I'm going to click flash. I'm going to bring up the exposure around the same that it was, and I'm going to shift that white balance back down to around where it was.
Oh, I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, literally.
So now I'm flipping back. We're a little magenta right here on this one. So yeah, I'm going to sync these settings real quick. We're going to sync our crop effects and lens corrections real quick. And now that matches. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Pull that up there. So pastel versus modern with a punch, with my own little twist on it. All right. Thanks for sending those over, Wes. We appreciate you, man. I'm going to switch back over for the last photo real quick, and I'm going to let you guys get back to your evening. This was a photo from Marty and Whit's engagement session. I'm going to go ahead and say that I need to clean my sensor too.
Ooh, do the thing.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Do it. So this is the visualize spot tool. So see all these little spots down on the horizon? Those are actually birds. They're not sensor spots. So you could technically clean those up. But I'm going to flip back over here. You'll notice that
they are
you
birds.
couldn't really see the that spot right there. It's a little bit hard to see that one too. But once you pull up this slider here, you can see where all these spots are in the water and in the sky. So I can come over here and just click and clean up all these different spots. Oh, there's actually one right there too that I didn't even see. So that's why this tool is so awesome. So you can come in here and clean up all the birds if you want, but totally up to you. You can spend hours doing this on this type of photo where the water, I promise this is in the water and not on my sensor. My sensor was dirty, but it wasn't this dirty.
No, they're shells.
It's mirrorless, so you can't really fight it. So this is with, let me show you the raw image real quick. I think I actually clicked soft light already. That's the raw soft light flash, which is what this is. One click and we're good. What happened to my spots? Did I reset the image?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a dummy.
You literally did that 2 seconds ago.
This is supposed to be my live stream edit.
Wow.
You were supposed to be in on the couch playing Animal Crossing or something.
Here.
I'm just kidding. We don't even own Animal Crossing, but apparently that's a new that's the new game. All right. So I'm literally just going to leave that as is because I'm going to show you something else in just a second. All right, I'm going to come over here and click the pastel and use the flash on the pastel. Not bad. That looks pretty cool. Two completely different looks right there.
I like it.
I honestly wouldn't even touch it. Like, that looks pretty good. All right, so now here is the surprise that you've all been waiting for.
Drum roll, please. Any other tips?
When
in doubt, black and white it out.
A lot of Beth images get turned black and white.
I'm a sucker for black and white. Let that say
All
whatever
right.
you want about how I shoot.
So the next pack that is being worked on from Visual Flow. Dun, dun, dun. Don't kill me for showing this pie. Is the Crush pack.
Are we allowed
Now
to
this
do this?
is completely in the beta form. There's going to be a lot more. I'm just going to show you one click real quick.
Like a teaser.
Look at what this does. Look at the new punch pack. Punch.
Before.
Pastel. Modern.
Oh, there we go.
So this is with the modern flash, pastel flash, and then we have the punch. Oh. Look at how freaking sweet that looks. And the awesome thing about this is we should just be able to dial the contrast back if it's too much, or the contrast forward if we need more. Okay? So, hope you enjoyed that sneak peek. Coming soon to a theater near you. All right, guys.
Can we do black and white on that one? That one's so cute.
Yeah, I would love to do a black and white on this one. So this one's for you, Jared. I hope you print out and frame my edit. I didn't even show the black and white and the pastels. I completely forgot. That actually looks really, really nice.
Good suggestion, Beth. Those are the only kind I have.
Okay. let's show black and white modern and black and white pastel. So this is the modern black and white, and that's the pastel. Pastel is just a little bit toned down in the contrast. Now, we're going to compare this real quick to the 2-man preset pack because I absolutely love their...
Man. I cannot get enough of theirs.
Their Jaeger Bomb is one of my favorites. So you can see how much punch this adds to the black and whites over, say, the modern and the pastel. So did a really awesome job with the packs that they have as well, to give you some really, really cool looks. Hit the little John. What?
Okay.
Hold on, I need to.
Oh my heavens.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it.
Good gravy.
But yeah. So hopefully, do you guys want to see anything else? You have any questions?
Look like in black and white?
Any concerns?
Questions, comments, or concerns?
I'm gonna come down here. What do you want to see? This one in black and white. So that's black and white pastel.
I love it.
That's black and white modern. And then we're gonna come down here to the 2-man and go Jaeger Bomb.
Yep.
Boom.
Oh.
Look at that contrast.
Hit me right in the feels.
All right. So JD, let me download your photos really fast. Sorry, I didn't forget about you. I lost you. Oh, you just posted it again. Sweet. So this is a drone photo. Sweet. Good call. Let me do this. Let me pull this over. Just gonna download it right there real quick. And where'd it go?
I don't know. That's why I save everything to the desktop. It's always there.
It's right there. Oh, I didn't scroll up. Let's pull this into Lightroom.
You have too many screens going on. I can't keep up.
You'll hear what I have to deal with all the time.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. It's right there.
Import.
All right. Flip back over so I can see comments. You are comedy.
If only you
Oh, we
knew.
toned it down tonight. We dialed it back. Let me go into develop. What are you doing?
Oh.
There we go. All right. So go away. Ooh, that's a sweet photo, JD. Where is this?
Can I go?
Can we go there right now?
Go.
We
Let's
need our
go.
own pandemic island right now. This would be perfect.
Airfare tickets are pretty cheap right now,
This would be perfect. Okay.
I could probably afford it.
I may need to, you know what? It's actually graying these out. I wonder if I need to update something.
There's always
They
an
still
update.
work. Let's see what it does to the profile. Now, was this, so it's saying profile is missing for this drone. Hey, Ken, if you're still watching, can you chime in? Or you got, JD, which drone was this taken with? And then JD, Ken, if you can chime in and say, and troubleshoot this for me. I think I just need to update my profile, the develop profile. It's probably the develop X profile. I'm sure if I come down here to the develop, where's my develop?
Mavic Pro 2 Zoom.
Ooh, that's cool. Well, I can't find anything right now. Either way, I'm going to pull down the exposure. So that's soft light. Let's see, what am I at? I'm at soft light here. This is what hard light. Ooh, look at what it does to the water. Yes. HDR. Backlit.
Oh, that one's even kind of nice.
Yeah.
But you kind of lose some of the detail in the island.
Over. Saturated green tint.
Oh, go back up one.
Black and white. So the oversaturated actually gives it a little bit of a muted look, kind of like the pastel light does.
Yeah.
I'm going to click HDR, and I'm going to bring down the exposure a little bit. Hey, Elizabeth.
I love Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
Oh.
This is the way. All right.
I have spoken.
I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I didn't show off the dark mode. So
that's kinda
this is
cool.
kind of cool. They have a really cool dark mode. I might switch back over here in just a second and show you some dark mode on the other images. But yeah, overall, this looks pretty cool. I'm gonna see if I can pull down the highlights just a little bit. I'm gonna come down here to the sky and clouds. I'm gonna bring that down just a little bit. If I can pull it down straight, my mouse is going all over the place right now. And that looks pretty cool. Let's just go crazy and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, Wes, we would too. That's kind of where I want to go. I want to have a quarantine island. I really do. Can we get a develop and photographer quarantine island where we all just go and play badminton and sip cocktails by the water and wait for this to blow over?
Island for like a venue, and then it's a business write-off.
There's the thought. Although, can we use our SBA loan money to buy an island?
Stop. You need
for
to
the
stop
business?
now. Enough.
That would be awesome. All right. I'm downloading that other file you just sent, JD. And play with the Fuji file. Boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom.
What was the Fuji?
Scott said go crazy, so what
was the Fuji camera that we had?
we had the XT. We've had an XT2 and an XT3. Awesome cameras.
XT2 that we took to Charleston.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I miss my XT2. I wish I'd never gotten rid of that thing.
That one was pretty.
I actually bought my XT3 from Wes, and then I sold it a few months ago. All right, what am I doing here? Scroll down. Drive by 70 to 200 family portraits. You should have them all open up their windows. Just have them open up each window in the house. And they all stick their heads out and take a photo of their house. Oh, I'm giving away a perfect idea. Everybody be inside the house, peeking out the windows, and just take a photo of their house with their heads peeking out. That would be a perfect family photo for this quarantine. And Michael said he just sold his 400. That would be clutch right now. Sean is doing that? Really? I've heard of people doing the porch photos. I haven't heard anybody doing that yet. That's hilarious. All right, back to editing. Soft light, hard light, HDR. Yeah.
I like what that did to the water.
HDR looks awesome. We're going to come down here to the tools and let's see what dark mode does. Oh, that's too much.
Too dark.
Let's do detail pop. Yes. Look how awesome that looks. Man, Fuji files look so good. I miss my Fuji. Why did I get rid of my Fuji? Anyway, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to give it even more of a... Well, actually, no, I'm not. That looks pretty good. Honestly, that looks fantastic. Let's see what it looks like with the pastel. Scroll back down here. Where am I? There we go. These are your honeymoon photos that you never edited. Oh, so you're just sending them all to me to edit right now. That's what you're really doing. You just want me to send you all these edits. Cool. So there's the pastel HDR. Let's see what happens when we add the detail pop to this. That looks pretty cool. I like that.
That's neat. I like the tones
So,
of the little
yeah.
butt.
Modern versus the pastel. That's pretty cool. Elizabeth, he said Bora Bora, I think. Cool deal. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump back over here. Let's try out the dark mode. I honestly haven't even really messed with the dark mode all that much. I don't. Pies knows when to use this a little bit better than I do. But let's just come down here to Jared's photo of his daughter real quick. I feel like this would be a good dark mode edit, possibly. So let's go dark mode, and you'll see that cranks down the exposure a lot. let's bring up the exposure just a little bit. Let's do something like that. Now this is obviously still too dark, but I want to come in here and I'm going to come over the dodge highlights. And I'm just going to simply brush this right over.
Dodge, dip, duck, and dive.
Right over face. And I liked it better on just the face. Oh, that looks pretty good too.
Kind of neat.
Yeah. Now that looks pretty cool, right? That's pretty rad.
It's different.
So I'm going to pull up the exposure just a little bit again for her skin. And I actually want to bring out a little bit of the hair. I think the hair is a little bit too dark still. So I'm going to go dodge shadows real quick. And I'm just going to draw right over the hair a little bit more. And boom. There we go. I like that. That's really cool. Let's try dark mode on one other photo. Let's try it on Wes's photo here. We've edited this one to the modern pack. Let's come down here and hit dark mode. And let's bring the exposure back up a little bit. Let's try dodge highlights here.
I can see
Look how
this being
loose we
really
can be
cool
with just the
for
dodge highlights, and we can
detail.
pull the couple out right there. Just with the dodge highlights. I'm gonna pull that back out just a little bit. Shoot, I should have saved the original. So if you want the couple to really pop against all that scenery, that landscape there, I feel like the dark mode can get you there pretty quickly. Let's see what it looks like here. So we've got our modern, pastel, and then the secret sauce in development. Let's go dark mode. I have no idea what this is going to look like for a flash photo. Pull up the exposure. I should have asked him how to edit in dark mode. I haven't even looked. I don't know. This is probably not the right way to do it, but oh well. I'm just going to go super loose with it. We can always clean it up later, but you get the idea. I don't like dark mode on this one as much as I did the others. Let's see what it does like on a really soft light look. Because I honestly have no idea. Stop it.
Sorry.
Ooh. I could see this working for pulling out the skin this way. That could look really cool.
Ooh. And then punch that sun in the corner.
Yes. This could really clean up some overexposed highlights. For a shot like this, I'd actually pull up the whites. Just a little bit. Somebody's blaring music out there. You hear that?
It's the golf cart brigade.
We have these kids in our neighborhood that ride around on golf carts, and
They're pretty awesome.
they're really entertaining. They keep the dogs entertained anyway.
Dude, they exercise.
And yeah,
Exercise the
they're funny.
dogs
I'll be
for
looking
free.
out my window and watching them jump ditches with golf carts. It's hysterical. So yeah, there are a lot of brushes, Elizabeth, but they're really easily organized. So you
Yeah.
can find it. You can see they got skin here. The flow here, I can hear them yelling at me. The retouch brush here, you got your eyes, lips, teeth, all that fun stuff. So they're pretty easy to find once you start using them. You kind of remember where everything is.
Yeah.
You'll notice I actually starred a few of my favorites and just put them up here so I can actually even quickly, or even find them even quicker.
She said,
I'll find my
"And
words in
ponies."
and ponies.
Like the horse that visited us.
That went over my head.
Obviously.
Yes, and ponies. We have all kinds of entertainment at our house. All right, guys. Well, I have been on for over an hour, and can't believe you guys actually stuck with me this long. How many viewers do we have? 16? 17? Awesome. Well, that about wraps it up for me. Do you have
I do
any
look vocalish,
any more
yeah.
questions? I keep smacking this mic because it's not in my normal spot. Do you guys have any more questions for me? Concerns? Want to see anything else before we log off here? All right.
That's it for me.
Bye,
guys.
Thanks for tuning in. I think Beth and I are going to start a podcast over this quarantine because we're going to be
Spending a lot of
so
time together.
tired of each other
We're
by the
so
end of this.
excited.
So yes, I think we should make a podcast, and I think all of you should join in on the podcast, and we should have a giant Zoom podcast
Yes.
chat and keep each other entertained because
We have some fun ideas.
we are all going to go crazy if we don't laugh at ourselves. So, alrighty. I just keep talking and not actually ending this. So, thanks for tuning in, and hope you learned a little bit and got to see some differences in the visual flow presets. If you have any questions on them, let me know. If you do want to purchase the presets, I dropped a link here in the caption. I'll drop one in the comments as well. And yeah, support us, support Visual Flow, support local businesses right now, support your local photographers. We all need your help as we get through this tough time. Couple shout outs: ASAP Photo and Camera, local camera store, Print Lab. They're going to be open for online orders, so if you need any camera gear, any printing needs, hit them up. Magmod, if you use the code CWinstead at checkout, knocks a few bucks off. And same thing with the VF presets. Use my link, get a little bit off, and enjoy. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night, and happy quarantine. Good night.